Before we begin tonight's episode, we need to give a quick but important warning. This podcast covers real crimes and real victims. Because of that, this episode may contain graphic discussions of violence, sexual assault, abuse, murder, and crimes against children. Some listeners may find the content disturbing or emotionally difficult to hear. Please take care of yourself while listening. Make sure you're in the right headspace before continuing, and know that it's always okay to pause the episode, skip it entirely, or come back another time. Your mental well-being will always matter more than the show. Listener discretion is strongly advised. And now, here's Becca.
4 people were murdered inside a house full of people. By the time police were called, more than 7.5 hours had passed. In the years since, we've been given an answer for who killed Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. But we haven't been given as a complete answer for what happened. There are still things that don't fit cleanly, things that were never tested in front of a jury, questions that became almost secondary once the case had a name, an arrest, and eventually a conviction. And for a while, it looked like those questions might never have to be answered. No trial meant no jury hearing the evidence from both sides, no cross-examination of the experts, no witnesses being asked publicly to explain what they saw, heard, or did, no opportunity to watch the prosecution's case challenged piece by piece, or to watch the prosecution do exactly the same thing to the defense. That doesn't mean the answers we already have are wrong. It means there are still gaps. There are still parts of that night where the public record leaves us with questions instead of answers. There are still disagreements over what some of the evidence actually proves. And there are still 4 families who have had to live with all of this while knowing there are pieces of their children's final hours that have never been completely explained. Now, something has changed. The case that appeared to be finished may not be as finished as everyone thought. And if a courtroom door opens again, the point isn't to decide what the answers are before anybody walks through it. It's to finally ask the questions that never got asked in front of a jury. Because an answer to one question doesn't automatically answer every other one. And after everything that has happened in this case, wanting those answers isn't unreasonable. 4 people lost their lives. Their families deserve to know exactly what happened.
Well, shit the bed. We're back.
Don't do it. It's such a mess to clean up.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Shadows in the Pines.
Yeah.
Where this week we will be doing what I said last week we weren't going to do. Because I'm a big fat liar.
No, sometimes just things really weigh on us and we're just like, we can't shake it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're going to do a Kohberger update.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to include what my theory about everything that happened is, because we just can't.
Right.
But we're going to talk about some of the fucking unanswered questions.
Yeah, there's
because,
a lot.
as we know, he's recently filed a petition to have his guilty plea withdrawn.
Correct.
And, he has been assigned new counsel. So apparently a judge also thinks that there's enough to it to warrant getting him back into the courtroom to hear, to take a look at it officially, which is what they need to do. So that doesn't mean there's going to be any kind of new trial. Doesn't mean anything really other than, like what he's saying is that the conditions were misrepresented to him, like where he would be staying, what death row would be like, etc. He said that there was evidence that was withheld from him that he found out about afterwards. And basically he's like, look, this is not what I agreed to when I agreed to plead guilty.
Right.
So now I want to get back in court, and it seems like he wants his day in court.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about this. And before we really get into it, I really want to make something absolutely clear.
Okay.
None of these questions that we're going to ask or talk about in this fucking episode are about blaming Madison, Kaylee, Xana, or Ethan for what happened to them. And I'm certainly not going to blame Dylan or Bethany for fucking surviving this fucking horrible ordeal.
Correct.
But we're going to examine the decisions, some evidence, and some unanswered questions because 4 people were fucking murdered. And there are still things about that night in the investigation that have never been explained fucking fully publicly.
Right.
Now, I also want to say is we're not saying Bryan Kohberger is innocent.
No.
This motherfucker pled guilty to murdering all 4 of them. And part of that plea deal was that he acknowledged that he was pleading guilty because he was guilty.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm not going to ask anyone to ignore that. And we're certainly not claiming that we have just, proved somebody else committed these fucking murders.
Oh, good Lord. No.
What we're saying is that he is guilty, that his guilty plea ended the trial before a lot of disputed evidence could ever really be challenged in open court. And now that he is trying to withdraw that plea, there is at least the possibility that some of those questions could finally be answered or at least, tested.
Yeah.
Now, is a trial going to be incredibly difficult for these fucking families?
Oh my God.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah.
Sure. Understandably so. They've already lived through something nobody should ever have to live through.
Agreed.
But they also kind of deserve the fullest possible account of what happened to their fucking children.
Yeah.
Madison's family deserves that. Kaylee's family deserves that. Ethan's family deserves that. And Xana's family fucking most definitely fucking deserves that.
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody deserves to know what actually happened inside 1122 King Road that morning. But the parents especially. So that's kind of what this episode's about. We're not trying to prove that Kohberger is innocent. We're not blaming the survivors. This episode's about getting the fucking questions answered.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start at the starting point. On July 2nd, 2025, Kohberger stood in an Idaho courtroom and pleaded guilty to murdering Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Now, when we covered this case before, that hadn't happened yet.
No.
He was still maintaining his innocence. We were headed toward a trial, and there were a lot of things about, this case that I expected that trial to finally answer.
Yeah.
We're obviously in a very fucking different place now. He admitted in court that he killed all 4 of them. That's established. I'm not going to ignore that because I still have questions about the case. But the plea itself only tells us so much. It tells us that Kohberger accepts criminal responsibility for the murders. It doesn't tell us why those 4 people were fucking attacked.
No, not at all.
It doesn't tell us whether one of them was the intended target. And it doesn't give us the exact sequence of what happened inside that house. And it certainly doesn't fucking answer whether Kohberger was the only person involved.
Right.
And it's that last part it's bugged me for so fucking long.
Yeah.
And I want to be careful about how I say that because I don't have any evidence that proves there was a second killer. And neither does anything in the material that we've reviewed.
Correct.
Now, are there experts who believe aspects of the physical evidence are more consistent with multiple assailants? Yes. Mm-hmm. But that is an expert's interpretation of the evidence. Right. And it's not proof that another person was inside that house. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But it's also not proof that there wasn't.
Oh, man, yeah.
And that's the problem, and kind of why we're doing this episode is because these questions need to fucking get answered.
Yeah, they need to be brought to light. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not proof that another person was there, but, you know, we need to see that argument actually happen in court.
Yeah.
Because there were experts prepared to testify about the crime scene. And there were disputes over the cellular evidence and what Kohberger's movements before the murders actually showed. Mm-hmm. There were questions surrounding what Dylan and Bethany experienced that night. Mm-hmm. There are several forensic issues that the defense intended to challenge.
Really?
And there were also alternate perpetrator arguments that the judge had kind of already ruled weren't supported well enough to put in front of a jury.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But some of that could have fallen apart completely at trial. And I think that's something that gets lost when people talk about the plea ending the case. A defense expert can write an opinion that sounds incredibly convincing when you read it by itself. But it's a completely different thing when a prosecutor gets to put that person under oath, you know, challenge the assumptions behind it and bring in another expert and say, no, here's why that interpretation is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And we didn't get that.
Right. And the state would have faced exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Because prosecutors, they have, you know, they got to take the version of these murders they spent, you know, all that time building and defend it piece by piece while Kohberger's attorneys tried to find every weakness they could. Mm-hmm. And instead of any of that happening, this fucking dude pleads guilty. Good. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good. So we got the answer to the biggest question. He admitted that he murdered them.
Right.
But we didn't get the examination of the evidence that was supposed to come with a trial. And there's some pretty basic things we don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, there's no publicly established motive. No. There's no publicly demonstrated relationship between Kohberger and any of these fucking 4 kids.
Yeah, no. None. Which is so bizarre to me. Like, why? Then why would these guys have to die?
Right. And we still don't have a complete account of exactly what happened inside that house.
No.
His plea didn't answer those questions. Mm-mm. So that's kind of where this case sits right now. He's admitted that he murdered, you know, the Idaho 4. Mm-hmm. But beyond those admissions, he hasn't told us what happened inside that road.
I know, he's been very
inside
quiet.
That house on King Road. He hasn't fucking said anything to anyone. Mm-mm. Which is fucking crazy to me.
Because, oh, God.
When have you ever known a person to keep their fucking mouth shut this fucking long about something?
I know. I see. There's another question.
And then there's some speculation that because Netflix recently had a new documentary about these kids on there that focused more on the victims. Good for them, because that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
There was speculation that him withdrawing his guilty plea is his version of trying to put himself back in the spotlight. But I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's an accurate thing to say when he's in there literally keeping his goddamn trap shut.
Yeah, that's that.
I think the spotlight's the last thing he fucking wants. I honestly think there's something that we need this trial to fucking happen.
Yeah.
1,000%. This trial needs to fucking happen.
I agree. Because then those are the questions that can be asked and answered, because everybody will be under oath.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Oh my God. Yeah.
So again, no publicly established motive for why Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were murdered.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the strangest things about where shit sits today, because he admitted that he killed them, but he hasn't told us why.
Yeah.
So naturally, one of the questions that keeps coming up is whether or not all 4 of them were intended victims.
Oh.
Or whether he went there that night looking for only one person.
And the rest just happened to be there, and he
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And Madison is the person I keep coming back to.
Mm-hmm.
Because the murders begin upstairs.
That was where she lived.
You would think.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a full accounting, or a step-by-step or,
a planogram.
Right, of what happened.
Yeah.
But you got to think that the murders begin upstairs in or around Madison's third floor bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
She's killed in her own room. Kaylee is there with her.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, Kaylee didn't live there anymore. She'd moved out and was just back in Moscow visiting that weekend. Just
That's
wanted
right.
to show Maddie her Jeep that she had just bought.
That's right.
And that night she happened to be sleeping in Maddie's bed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you got the knife sheath. It's found right there beside or near Madison.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the sheath that becomes important because it allegedly carries the DNA evidence associated with Kohberger.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, whatever questions I have about this case, I can't just throw that out because it gets in the way. If I'm questioning the state's version of something, I'm also going to deal with the evidence that supports it.
Correct.
And that sheath puts Kohberger right there in Madison's bedroom. So was Madison the person he went there for? Maybe. There's certainly enough for us to ask that question.
Yes.
Because he goes upstairs. Madison's killed in her own bed. The sheath is there. Kaylee being in that bed that night wasn't necessarily something anybody outside their circle could have counted on because she'd already moved away.
Right.
But then I run straight into a problem with that theory, which is how the fuck does Kohberger, who has no connection to these fucking people whatsoever,
right,
even know who the fuck she is?
Oh, that's a great question. You're right. How?
And yeah, exactly. And as far, as much as we've learned about this case, nobody has publicly established that connection, period.
Right.
There's no confirmed messages between them that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
There's been no proven social media interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody has publicly established that Kohberger ever met Madison at the Mad Greek.
Oh, where she worked. Yeah.
Right. Where her and Xana worked.
Yeah, that's right.
That's just all speculation. Nobody's proved it. Nobody in any fucking... Nobody's come forward and established some personal relationship between them.
No. Because, your coworkers would have recognized, hey, I know that face.
Right.
Seen him around a few times.
Now, we're also not going to say that there necessarily has to be one. People have been targeted by complete strangers before. That shit fucking happens.
That's true. We've had other cases.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You fucking be walking in Walmart, look at somebody the wrong way, and next thing you know, they're following you out the fucking door, screaming at you about their fucking... You fucking took the last Dr. Pepper. I don't fucking know what people at Walmart scream about. I just know that they do it.
It's true. Oh my Lord.
But you know what I mean?
There's so many more questions.
Exactly.
So many.
Now, but I want to know how, if she was the target and she was specifically chosen, I want to know how he found her in the first place.
Yeah.
Now, that question has gotten a little bit more interesting because of Cy Ray.
Who's that?
And if you don't know who Cy Ray is, thank you.
You're welcome.
He's not just some guy that Kohberger's defense found who knows how to read cell phone records. Okay?
Oh.
Cy Ray spent roughly 2 decades in law enforcement in Arizona, including time as a SWAT operator and homicide sergeant, and cellular tracking became one of his specialties.
Oh.
Now, he later founded a company called ZX and developed Trax, which is software designed to analyze and map cellular location data for criminal investigations.
Oh, wow.
So this dude knows his shit.
Yeah.
ZX was eventually acquired by LexisNexis, and Ray has been qualified as an expert in geolocation investigations in state and federal courts around the country.
Whoa.
So when I say this dude knows his shit, this dude knows his fucking shit.
Oh, God.
So when the defense brings in Ray to analyze the cellular and location evidence, they're not fucking around. They're not bringing in somebody new to this shit. They're bringing in the guy that literally fucking invented it.
Yeah. Top dog.
This has been his whole career.
Yeah.
Or a substantial part of it anyway.
Yeah. Holy.
Now, let me slow down.
Okay.
Real slow. because that doesn't mean Cy Ray is automatically right. And his tracks methodology has been challenged in court before, and that's important too.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because he's an expert and he's got a long resume doesn't make his conclusions immune from scrutiny.
No, because he's human.
Yeah. But it does mean that when he starts talking about what he believes the location evidence shows in this case, I'm fucking interested in seeing the data behind it, and my ears are wide fucking open.
Right.
Now, before the guilty plea, we heard about Ray's work largely because the defense was challenging the state's interpretation of Kohberger's movements. They argued that his analysis actually supported portions of Kohberger's alibi and disputed some of what prosecutors were saying about those cellular handoffs. Okay, but he's made newer public claims that go considerably further than that.
Oh.
And he's talking about what he describes as repeated location collisions between Kohberger and Madison.
Huh.
Now, if those are really repeated, precise intersections between Kohberger and Madison herself, that kind of gets my attention.
Yeah.
Because this guy's supposed to be your defense.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden,
now he's like, well, hey, just so you know.
He's showing, you know what I mean?
He's showing the full book, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can say that yet.
Well,
but there's a huge difference between his phone being somewhere in Moscow at the same time Madison is somewhere in Moscow, and location evidence repeatedly putting Bryan Kohberger close to Madison.
Okay.
They're not the same thing. And we've already seen how easy it is for cellular evidence in this case to get described as being far more precise than it actually is.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now that brings me to these trips to Moscow, because I think we need to correct something that's become almost accepted as fact at this point.
Oh.
Now, at the plea hearing, prosecutors said Kohberger's phone had connected with cellular resources in the Moscow area approximately 23 times during late night or early morning hours before the murders.
Wow.
Now, in almost every account, those trips are described as 23 separate stalking trips. But we don't know that.
Yeah, how would you know?
We don't even know that there were 23 trips to fucking King Road.
Right.
Those cellular resources covered a much larger area than one house. Facts.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like
every goddamn house doesn't have their own cell tower.
Oh, hell no. That'd be a lot of cell towers.
Now, here's a really good example of why that distinction matters, okay? On August 21st, Kohberger's phone interacted with cellular resources that also served the King Road area.
Okay.
And almost immediately afterward, he was documented during a traffic stop somewhere else in Moscow.
Okay.
So the tower can tell us something about the general area his phone was using. It can't magically shrink that area down to Madison's driveway.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if that, like, does that make sense, what I just said? His phone pinged that area, the same area that King Road is on, but he wasn't anywhere near the house, period. He was busy in a traffic stop somewhere else in Moscow. So that's the point. Just because it is near there or pinging that same tower doesn't mean that he's right next to that fucking house.
Correct.
But that's how they keep spinning this shit, and it's infuriating because that's not what it means. And until they can prove that that's exactly what was happening, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then
we got to step back. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the tower can tell us something about the general area his phone was using. Like I said, can't shrink it down to like precise location. But when you look at the dates, there's something that's really interesting. Roughly 16 of those 23 Moscow area events happened during July and August, and then they drop off. There's only one reconstructed event in September, 3 in October, and 3 during the first week of November.
Okay.
So if those are stalking trips, that pattern's a little fucking weird.
Because August, July, they're not in school. Or July, August time.
Well, and usually the obsession grows. It doesn't get smaller.
That's true. It doesn't just end.
So for them to drop off, that doesn't make fucking sense. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's fucking weird because it's outside the fucking normal.
Like what you would expect a stalker to be doing. Yeah. See, now more questions for me.
Yeah. So because the activity is heaviest months before the murders, rather than steadily increasing as November gets closer, maybe there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for that. Maybe he already knew whatever he wanted to know by then. Maybe later movements weren't captured the same way. Or maybe some of those trips had absolutely nothing to do with Madison or fucking King Road.
Right. We don't know.
Yeah. So, and there's one fairly simple question that could tell us a lot. Where was Madison on those nights?
Oh, that is a good question.
So if Kohberger's supposedly making repeated trips to Moscow because he's following Madison, and Madison isn't even in Moscow during some of them, then obviously we have a problem with calling all of those stalking trips.
I agree.
On the other hand, if the more precise location evidence really does show Kohberger repeatedly turning up near Madison, not just her house, but Madison herself in various other places, that changes the conversation considerably.
Yeah, that's just creepy.
But right now, we don't publicly have enough of that underlying location data to know which one of those things we're looking at.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
So I can absolutely see why people believe Maddie was the target. And I kind of do too. But there's a lot of it that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's not adding up.
What I can't do is take the fact that Madison was killed first, add the sheath, add 23 Moscow area cellular events, and turn all of that into a relationship between two people that nobody has actually established.
That would be far-fetched and so hard to, cement. Oh my gosh.
So I don't mean relationship like they're dating.
No.
I mean any kind of relationship, period.
Knowing who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if Maddie's the reason Kohberger went to King Road that night, there, the very basic question has to be answered. How the fuck did he find her?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Now, those 23 late night and early morning connections to the tower bother me for a different reason, though. Because if we can't establish that every one of them was about Madison, then what the fuck is he doing in Moscow that often?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Now, they're close. We're talking about two college towns separated by, about 10 miles or so?
About, yeah.
So crossing the state line, and we talk about all this extensively, you know what I mean? Washington, Oregon, or fucking Washington, Idaho.
Yeah.
It's not out of the norm. There's restaurants, bars, stores, students, parties, friends. So simply being in Moscow 23 times over a period of months isn't suspicious. No. It's the hours. Because these aren't like Tuesday afternoon grocery runs. Okay. You know what I mean? The state specifically described them as late night or early morning connections to the tower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got to be really careful in these next parts. Yeah. But there's one possibility I've wondered about for a while. And I don't have any evidence, but this is part of my theory.
Okay, I'm listening.
You got to wonder what he's doing over there. It's an odd time.
Yeah, because most of us are sleeping.
But what if it's drugs?
Oh.
Now, we know he had a documented history of heroin use years before he moved to Washington.
Yeah.
Now, by the time he's attending WSU, the information that we do have indicates that kind of period of his life was far behind him.
Okay, yeah.
And I haven't seen any evidence establishing that he, had relapsed in 2022 or anything like that. And I'm not going to turn a past addiction into evidence that somebody was currently using drugs.
Correct.
But his history does make the question legitimate in a way it wouldn't necessarily be with somebody who had never used heroin at all. Which is, could some of those late night trips into Moscow have been about obtaining drugs rather than watching somebody? I don't know.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, we don't know.
And then there's another part of this, that I need to be clear about, because this is exactly where a legitimate question can turn into an unfair accusation if we're sloppy. There has been some, activity connected to people around the case.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't mean, anything. And you know what? I'm just not, I can't.
Nope.
Like, it's just too much.
Yeah.
I don't want to risk it.
No, don't risk
Because,
it.
yeah. I'm just saying, it's fucking weird.
What was the activity that brought him in at that time of day or night? Yeah.
And the point is that we don't know what those trips over there
about?
were for.
Right.
But I feel like I've just given you a plausible alternate explanation to him stalking somebody. Because he has a documented history of drug use.
Mm-hmm.
It's hours where drug dealers are most prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be as simple as that.
Right.
Or maybe, you know what I mean? Like if I had a nickel for every time I had shit on my mind, like hardcore shit.
Yeah.
And just couldn't fucking sleep. And I've gotten into my car and gone for a fucking drive. I'd have a sock full of fucking nickels. And do you know how many other fucking dudes I fucking see in the wee hours of the morning doing the exact same fucking thing?
To clear your head.
Yeah, because when we're fucking depressed, that's what we do. And again, like I will pull up to a fucking 24-hour car wash to vacuum my car, and there's already fucking 4 other dudes there.
Yeah.
And they all have the same fucking look. We don't know how to fucking process what the fuck is happening.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So we're just out looking for any kind of fucking relief we can get. So it's plausible that the fucking dude who's a student, the TA, and all this other shit is literally fucking telling the truth and is just out fucking driving around.
Right. Just trying to clear his head.
It's a small fucking area. You're bound to fucking pass by this fucking house at some point. You know what I mean?
It is a tiny town.
Again, I'm not fucking saying he's innocent. He pled fucking guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Like this in this whole episode, and if any of the fucking parents are listening, I'm not fucking blaming your kids. It's awful what happened to them, and I don't want this motherfucker to get away with it. I don't.
No.
But if there was somebody else involved with him, I want to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there's questions that the roommates that are survived can fucking answer, I want to fucking know.
Yeah.
And I feel like you guys deserve to fucking know.
I agree.
So this fucking, the judge has to be like, I agree. Trial.
Yeah. Trial would
I feel like it's the only thing that literally can happen that fucking gets all the fucking questions answered. Like I fucking want to know. I want to fucking know why you did it.
Yeah.
I want to know what the intent was, who the fucking target was, all of it.
Well, yeah. It's a very unsolved case, and it would be so nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, 23 cellular connections don't have to have one explanation. And that's where I really think that this stalking narrative becomes too neat. We know Kohberger eventually murdered 4 people on King Road.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly tempting to take every unexplained thing he did beforehand and make it part of the murders.
Yeah, to kind of neatly package it up together.
Right. So every drive he took becomes surveillance. Every Moscow visit becomes King Road. And every late night cellular connection becomes stalking when it's not necessarily truth.
True, right. Well, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Right. And the problem with that is human beings don't live their lives backward from the crime they're eventually going to commit. So if he was stalking Madison, there should be evidence of that beyond the fact that he sometimes traveled to the city where she fucking lived.
Right. Yeah.
And if he, as far as my theory, if he was out meeting somebody and buying drugs, there should eventually be something supporting that too. You know what I mean? Communications, transactions, an associate, a location where he repeatedly stopped. You know what I mean? Search history, fucking something. I don't know. Give me something. But as far as the material we have right now goes, we don't have any of that. So I am not telling you that Bryan Kohberger was making drug runs to Moscow.
No.
I am presenting an alternative that is just being used as an example as to show you the problem.
Right.
We don't know what those connections to the tower mean.
Not at all. We have no idea.
So And my whole point in all of that was to say that we can't just call it stalking, because that's what I see all the time.
Mhm.
Every goddamn new thing I
Is it
see
too
about this.
narrow?
Oh,
Mhm.
he stalked her for a series of months.
Do you
According
know?
to who?
Yeah.
Right?
Were
It's
you
almost
there?
like it's like the telephone game. You know what I
It
mean?
becomes a little too, yeah.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
things just keep getting added and added and added, but nobody disputes it
No, because
because nobody wants to be that guy.
that pokes a hole. that
Right.
says,
Nobody
"Wait
wants
a
to be
minute."
like, well, these 4 people lost their lives and it's fucking horrific and it's sad and it's tragic. And nobody wants to be the person to go against the norm of the feelings that come with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm gonna.
I like to think of it as playing devil's advocate. I think that these are questions and thoughts and concerns that I think a lot of people have had out there. And in a way, us sitting down and going through this kind of brings that to light, kind of gives a voice to what people haven't really said out loud yet.
Yeah. And I'm not looking for, let me make this clear. I'm not looking to prove that he's innocent or to have some kind of big, haha, gotcha.
No.
I fucking told you so moment.
Right now.
I don't give a fuck about any of that
No.
at all. I want justice for these 4 kids.
Amen.
And I want fucking the right goddamn justice. If there was somebody else involved, I want them held fucking accountable.
Yeah.
If the fucking surviving roommates have information that we don't know about, I want them fucking held to
Please.
task about it.
Yeah. Come forward.
Because it's fucking horse shit.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. This fucking case upsets me. There's a reason it was our very first fucking podcast fucking episode. We live here.
Yeah.
I dated a woman whose daughter went to school with these kids. I watched
Yeah.
her fucking cry on the couch the morning she found out.
Yeah.
It fucking means something to me. And it fucking means something to everybody in this goddamn area.
Yeah.
So I want the fucking truth.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel like the only way we're going to get that fucking truth is to have a fucking trial.
Yeah.
So on the off chance that Judge Hippler is fucking listening, fucking do it, man. Do it.
Do it. Yeah. Please. Please, please, please.
So fucking moving on. If Madison was the person Kohberger went into the house looking for,
Mm-hmm.
then let's stay upstairs for a minute.
Okay.
Because what is found in that bedroom is where some of the questions about whether one person did this really start to get complicated. Madison and Kaylee were found together in Madison's room. We know the knife sheath was recovered beside Madison.
Mm-hmm.
And we know the DNA associated with Kohberger was recovered from the snap of that sheath.
Mm-hmm.
This is a major piece of evidence against him. And nothing else that I'm going to talk about in a minute makes that fucking disappear.
Okay.
But the sheath isn't the only DNA evidence associated with Maddie.
Oh.
There was also DNA recovered from material beneath her fingernails. Now, let's be clear, because like I was just bitching about fucking the assumption that the 23 tower connections mean stalking.
Right, right.
Just because she has DNA under her fingernails doesn't automatically mean that the investigators have found some mystery killer's DNA.
True.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the DNA that they did find under her fingernails did not belong to Kohberger.
Which then begs the...
It's a little interesting, right?
Yeah.
So what we do have is a mixed DNA profile, meaning DNA from more than one person was present in that particular sample.
Mm-hmm.
And Kohberger was repeatedly excluded as a contributor to that mixture.
Okay. Okay.
So immediately that makes me want to know who the contributors were.
Yeah. Where's the list?
Yeah. You know, but also let's be clear, unidentified DNA under somebody's fingernails doesn't automatically mean that that DNA came from the person who killed you.
Correct.
Because think about how easy it is to pick up somebody else's DNA during normal life. Touching people, handling things other people have touched, working a shift at a restaurant or a grocery store, especially.
Oh, yeah.
Going out with friends, being in a house where people are constantly coming and going.
Yeah.
Everybody's touching doorknobs. Yeah.
Yes. And with Madison especially, we're talking about a young woman who has just been out for the entire evening with friends before coming home.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I want to know whose DNA that is.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't jump from it wasn't Kohberger to therefore there was another killer.
Correct. Yeah.
But
That'd be so narrow.
the injuries are where this becomes really fucking hard for me to digest.
Yeah.
The publicly discussed evidence indicates that there were differences in the injuries suffered by Madison and Kaylee. And that's kind of fueled a lot of the discussion about whether the same weapon was used on both women.
Mm-hmm.
And Kaylee's father, Steve, we know and love Steve Goncalves.
Yes.
He said
yes.
lovingly, has publicly described the injuries as different and said he was told that they did not match. Now, that is significant as a family member describing information he says was communicated to him.
Yeah.
But it's not the same thing as having the complete autopsy records in front of us and having a forensic pathologist explain precisely what those differences mean.
Right.
Because different wounds don't automatically mean different weapons. A single knife can produce very different injuries depending on angle, force, movement, position, resistance, which portion of the blade's actually making contact.
Mm-hmm.
And even if forensic evidence eventually established that two different weapons were used, that still wouldn't automatically give us two killers. Because one person can fucking certainly be possessing more than one weapon.
Yeah.
Now, but the differences are enough that they caught the attention of one of the defense experts, which is where Dr. Brent Turvey comes into this case. And Turvey is a forensic scientist and criminal profiler whose work includes crime scene analysis and reconstruction.
Oh, wow.
And Kohberger's defense retained him specifically to examine the physical evidence and reconstruct what may have happened inside the King Roadhouse. Now, crime scene reconstruction is a little different from what people sometimes picture when they hear somebody called a profiler. You know what I mean? Like, he's not sitting there looking at photographs and trying to tell us what kind of personality the killer had. The idea is much more physical than that.
Mm-hmm.
Where were the victims? What injuries did they suffer?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the blood? What does the bloodstain evidence indicate about movement? What weapons could produce the injuries? Where would the offender have to be positioned? You know what I mean?
Oh, wow,
where was he standing? How much time would each attack require? And what does the physical evidence allow? And what does it make difficult? So he reviewed the case and came away believing that the physical evidence and timing were more consistent with multiple assailants than with one person moving through the house alone. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, let me, tap the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a fucking enormous claim.
Yeah, that's huge.
Now, he did not prove that there are two killers.
No.
But he is given an expert opinion. And because Kohberger pleaded guilty before trial, we never got to watch prosecutors put Turvey on the witness stand and challenge that opinion.
Oh.
We never got to hear the state's forensic experts explain why they believed one offender could account for the same evidence that Turvey was looking at. So all we can fairly do is, with his reconstruction, is understand what bothered him and then see whether those problems actually hold up.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Now, part of it is the injury evidence. Part of it was the possibility that more than one instrument was involved. He looked at blood evidence, footwear impressions, possible dilution or cleanup evidence, and the fact that investigators did not identify victim DNA in Kohberger's Elantra. Now, this last one gets thrown around a lot too. 4 people were stabbed to death in an incredibly bloody crime scene, and investigators did not identify the victim's DNA in Kohberger's car. On its face, that really surprises me. We talked about that in our first episode.
Yeah.
I find that super hard to fucking believe.
Because wouldn't blood transfer on you somehow and get in there if that's what happened?
Xana herself had 67 wounds.
Oh my God, that's...
And when you're dealing with bladed weapons, that produces cast off.
Yeah.
if you are in that house for 14 minutes or less, you are going extremely fast. You are not slowly puncturing people.
No.
You are violently,
Yeah.
horrifically, and brutally attacking people.
Yeah.
Which means your arm is moving fast.
Yeah.
Which means that whether you're wearing shit or not, you are going to get fucking cast off on you.
Yeah.
That is just fucking fact.
Correct. Yeah.
So to not have any of that.
Car.
And we've done so many of these cases where, you know what I mean? Like they think that they're so fucking clever with their cleanup and shit. And then one tiny little fucking thing fucking busts them.
Yeah. Like what was the button?
William Pigeon. And so it's not impossible.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he was a criminology student. Could he possess the knowledge to accurately and thoroughly clean his fucking car? Maybe. I find it really fucking hard to believe.
Yeah.
You and I are true crime fucking buffs, aficionados. Do you think you could fucking clean a car that fucking good? Fuck no.
No.
Me neither.
No.
Just the very fact of trying to clean it that good, I would miss something.
In this small amount of time.
Yeah.
That's the other factor for me. It's just like the time of it all.
Yeah. So now just because there's no evidence in there doesn't prove that he never got into the car after the murders. Maybe he wore protective clothing. Maybe he removed an outer layer before getting inside. You know what I mean? There's a lot of maybes.
Right.
Now, there are possible explanations, but without knowing exactly what happened,
we can't.
Right. Yeah. But the same thing applies in the other direction. You can't say the lack of victim DNA proves Kohberger wasn't the killer and then turn around and say unidentified DNA under Madison's fingernails proves somebody else was. We got to keep the standard the same.
Correct.
And Turvey has raised another issue involving the sheath itself. That because he's publicly questioned aspects of how that evidence was handled and documented. But again, that's his allegation.
Right.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit more further in this episode, just a little bit.
Okay.
About the handling of the sheath. So, but his larger reconstruction leaves us with a question that I think is fair, which is, can one person physically account for everything that happened inside 1122 King Road during the time that was available and given to us?
I could give you my opinion.
Right? Now, so far,
I can give you facts.
And Madison and Kaylee are only part of what happened that night because downstairs we have Xana Kernodle, who's still awake.
Yeah.
Now, she received a DoorDash delivery at roughly 4:00 that morning. And investigators found activity on her phone showing she was using TikTok at approximately 4:12 a.m. So whatever was happening upstairs with Madison and Kaylee, Xana was still awake on the second floor during at least part of that same window. Now, Dylan Mortensen, one of the surviving roommates, would later tell investigators that she heard crying coming from Xana's room. And she also heard a male voice say something along the lines of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." We don't know who said that. It may have been Kohberger. It may not have been.
Right.
Dylan heard a male voice, but she didn't identify the speaker. And without knowing who said it or exactly when it was said, I don't think we can give those words a meaning that they don't have on their own.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, Xana's injuries included wounds consistent with her trying to defend herself. Fucking good for you.
Yeah. Good for you.
That makes me feel so good. It's awful what happened to her.
Yeah.
But she fucking didn't make it easy.
No. She's like, no, bitch. You're not.
She was like,
down.
all right, you fucking let's go then, dude. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the other person came out on top.
Yeah, a little too strong.
But hooray for her. For fucking, for fighting back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Ethan was there in the bedroom with her. And when I put those two things together, I have a hard time getting around the obvious question. What the fuck was happening with Ethan while Xana was trying to defend herself?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there are answers that still work with one attacker. Ethan could have been attacked first. He could have been asleep. He could have been injured badly enough that he wasn't capable of helping Xana by the time she was attacked.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the order.
No, we don't.
And without that order, I don't think we can say one person couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But if Xana's awake, at least during part of this window,
yeah,
and the killer comes down and encounters Xana, Xana is awake. Xana is awake.
Full on awake.
So where the fuck is Ethan?
Yeah.
He's in the room with her.
Yeah.
So is he sleeping when she starts getting attacked? And if so, you sleep through that?
There's no way. There'd be screaming.
Okay. And if he attacked Ethan first, what the fuck is Xana doing? Because Xana was awake.
Yeah. Why don't you
So it doesn't fucking make sense. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
This is not fucking rocket science. It's basic fucking
humanity.
Like Occam's razor. You know what I mean? Like the most logical explanation is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I gotta say, man, the fucking evidence for me points towards more than one fucking person.
Yeah, because there's
and
no
when
way.
you fucking take into account that the very first thing Kohberger said when he's arrested in Pennsylvania is who else has been arrested? It's fucking fishy.
Mm-hmm.
It's super fucking fishy.
But I think that kind of got swept under the rug with a lot of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, man, he pled guilty. So, I mean, a lot of this has been, just fucking forgot about.
Yeah.
But you know me. You've got to hear about this fucking weekly. I've not let this fucking case go.
No. But there's a reason. You know what I mean? Like, these kids, these families, they need answers.
Yeah. So we can't say that one person couldn't have done it. Maybe. But we do have a pretty tight window to work with.
Yeah.
Now, a white sedan. A white sedan. I'm not saying fucking Elantra.
No.
And you'll know why. Is captured making repeated passes around the King Road area before 4 a.m. The vehicle returns to the area at approximately 4:04. Xana's phone is still active on TikTok. Around 4:17, a security camera less than 50 feet from Xana's bedroom picks up a distorted audio that the probable cause affidavit describes as voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud. Now, a dog can also be heard barking repeatedly. And then at approximately 4:20, a white sedan investigators would later associate with the suspect vehicle is captured leaving the area at a high rate of speed. So that gives us roughly 16 minutes between the vehicle coming back into the area and the white sedan leaving. And even if we accept that those recordings show the same vehicle, whoever is driving it isn't spending all 16 of those minutes inside the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They still have to park, get out, approach the house, get inside. Then afterward, they have to get back out, return to the vehicle, and leave.
Yeah, it takes time.
Now, somewhere inside what remains of that window, Madison and Kaylee are attacked upstairs and Xana and Ethan are attacked downstairs. Could one person do that? Sure. But I don't think anybody can responsibly look at 16 minutes and declare that 4 murders by one person are physically impossible. You know what I mean? We don't know the exact second the attacker entered the house, and we don't know the exact order of all 4 deaths.
Correct. Yeah.
And, I mean, let's be frank, violent attacks can happen very quickly. But this is the part of the reconstruction that bothered Brent Turvey. He looked at the injuries, the timing, the movement between floors, and the fact that Xana appears to have been awake, and her injuries are consistent with resistance and defending herself. And his opinion was that physical evidence was more consistent with multiple assailants.
Right.
Now, that's just his opinion. It's not proof, but and there are ways to build the sequence with one attacker. If Madison and Kaylee are attacked first, the attacker comes downstairs. Ethan is attacked before he can respond, and Xana is attacked afterward. I just don't think that's fucking possible. I really don't.
That sounds like a lot of work.
That's your girl. He's going to fucking hear her in distress and wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
But if Xana and Ethan are both awake when the attacker reaches them, it becomes a different physical situation.
Mm-hmm.
And if the attacks downstairs overlap with anything still happening upstairs, that changes it again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we just don't have enough information about the order of the injuries right now to know.
Yeah, exactly.
But we do have Xana's phone active around 4:12. Dylan hearing crying in a male voice, the camera picking up the whimper and the thud and the dog.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he believes more than one attacker. I also believe that. The state thinks that Bryan Kohberger is solely responsible for murdering all 4 victims. And Kohberger has admitted that he did. So, you know, he's pled guilty again for like I'm kicking a dead horse on that, but there's a reason.
Right.
It doesn't give us a reconstruction of those minutes inside the house.
No.
Doesn't tell us when Xana encountered her attacker. Doesn't tell us whether Ethan was awake. Doesn't tell us which of them was attacked first. Even though, I mean, logically, reasonably speaking, we can assume that it was Dylan.
Hmm.
And I just don't know. The whole thing is so fucking weird. Because she's awake.
Yeah. There's so many things.
In my mind, you're awake, you encounter your attacker, you start defending yourself.
Yeah.
And there's a second attacker that fucking gets Ethan. It's the only thing that makes sense to me.
There had to have been. Because he would have had, yeah. There's the,
yeah. I know,
Lord.
right? So,
yeah.
I really, really want to make this next thing really clear before I go any further. I am not accusing Dylan Mortensen, Bethany Funky, Hunter Johnson, or any of the friends who came to that house of participating in these murders.
No, we're not.
I am not saying all I'm doing is questioning the decisions made that morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to question them hard because 4 people were lying inside while more than 7.5 motherfucking hours passed before anybody called 911.
Yeah, that's
Now,
a hard pill to swallow.
Dylan told investigators she'd heard enough unusual activity that she opened her bedroom door 3 separate times. She heard crying. She heard a male voice. Then she opened the door and saw a man she didn't recognize, dressed in black, wearing a mask, covering his mouth and his nose, walking through the house at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. And nobody called 911. Now, I'm sorry, but that's fucking extraordinary.
Because that would have been my first thing.
I understand freezing when you see the guy.
Mm-hmm.
The affidavit itself says Dylan described herself as being in a frozen shock phase. Fine. I'm not questioning whether a human being can freeze when something scares the shit out of them.
Right.
I'm questioning what the fuck happened afterward.
The actions after.
The stranger leaves. She locks her door. She's got a phone. Bethany's downstairs. And somehow we get from approximately 4:20 in the morning to 11:58 without an emergency call.
Yeah, not good.
And this is what I was talking about earlier in the episode, where nobody wants to be that fucking guy and feel like they're blaming or assigning guilt. You know what I mean? But I'm going to fucking do it. Now, I made it clear, I'm not saying any of these fucking kids or these survivors are responsible for these murders. I am not. But this is fucked up.
Right.
It really is. And we're going to fucking talk about it.
Because if these were your friends and your roommates, wouldn't you have...
Yeah. Now, 4:20 in the morning to 11:58 without an emergency call. That isn't a momentary freeze response anymore.
No.
That's an enormous chunk of fucking time, and I want to know what happened during it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they contacted each other.
Right. You didn't go.
There was communication between them where Dylan was like, there's somebody in the house. Bethany's like, shut the fuck up. Are you serious? Get down here. Run. You know what I mean?
And there was never are you calling the cops?
Exactly. Now, Did either of them call Xana? Did they call Ethan, Madison, Kaylee? Did they text them? Did they hear phones ringing inside those rooms? Did they knock on doors? Did either one, you know?
Did they go and try
Did
to check
anybody
on
see Xana? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
fucking weird. Now, somewhere along the way, something changes, and by late morning, the surviving roommates are concerned enough that they start bringing friends to the house. Okay.
friends, but not cops?
Concerned about what?
Right.
This question drives me fucking crazy. You don't call people over to help with a problem unless you know there is a problem.
Oh, that's
You just fucking don't.
right.
So what did they know?
What had they already discovered?
If they hadn't seen anybody, any of the roommates,
Right.
what happened that made them believe something was wrong? Other than the previous night, fucking Dylan seeing a masked intruder in the fucking house. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
If they can't wake somebody up, why are they calling friends instead of an ambulance?
Right.
If they know somebody's unconscious, why are they calling friends instead of an ambulance? If they were scared because of what Dylan had seen during the night, why are they calling friends instead of the police?
Right.
No matter which direction I fucking come at this from, I keep ending up at the same fucking question, which is why wasn't 911 the very first fucking call?
Right.
And I do not accept they were college kids as a fucking answer.
No.
These are fucking adults.
Yeah. Because even an 8-year-old would know. You call 911.
I don't accept that it was a party house as an answer either.
Nope.
A party house might explain hearing people walking around at 2 a.m. It doesn't automatically explain away crying, a masked stranger dressed in black, roommates who apparently can't be fucking reached, and eventually enough concern to summon friends.
But not authorities.
But no, these poor girls. You know what I mean? Fuck no, not these poor girls. These poor 4 murdered fucking students.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting so worked up.
I know. I can see.
So then Hunter fucking Johnson arrives. And again, I'm not blaming this kid either. Hunter says he's the first one of that group to enter the house. He's the one that finds Xana and Ethan. Now, think about the condition of that room. Xana has suffered an extraordinarily violent knife attack. She's found on the floor. Ethan has also been killed. There is substantial blood evidence.
Yeah.
You saw the photos.
Yeah.
There was so much blood that it was leaking through the floorboards and out the outer fucking portion of the fucking
Foundation.
The foundation.
Yeah.
And the house boards and
Yeah.
the siding. That's
Yeah.
how much blood had pooled and was leaking. Now, maybe you don't see anything, but you certainly fucking smell it.
You're going to. Yeah.
There
you
is
are.
no way you fucking don't.
Yeah, no.
So, again, not saying they had anything to do with it, but they're being given a lot of fucking grace that I don't think they fucking deserve at all.
Yeah, it's hard to.
So
Like you said, they were adults and they still didn't do the adult thing.
Yeah. Now, okay, so Hunter Johnson arrives, right?
Yes.
Somehow, these girls that are speaking with 911 are describing, because they finally do call 911, are describing Xana as passed out.
Excuse me?
Or saying that she isn't waking up. Based on what? Seriously, if you haven't seen Xana, how in the fuck do you know she's passed out?
Yeah.
And if you have seen Xana, I want to know exactly what you fucking saw.
Yeah.
I also want to know who first said passed out. Who gave that information to the person speaking with dispatch?
Yeah.
Who first physically saw Xana? Was it Hunter? Was it somebody before Hunter? Was Xana's bedroom door open? Could somebody see her from the hallway? Did somebody enter and then come back out? These are not obscure details. This is the fucking discovery of 4 murder victims.
Yeah.
So then eventually Hunter gets on the phone. He doesn't say Xana is sleeping. He doesn't say she won't wake up. He says that she's not breathing. Okay, now we're hearing from somebody who reportedly entered the bedroom and physically encountered the scene. Now, you go in that bedroom and you come out, and instead of expressing to dispatch how horrific
that scene is,
and having any kind of fucking urgency in your voice about what you've just witnessed, because remember, she's the victim of a horrific knife attack.
Yeah.
You're going to see that.
Yeah, defense wounds.
You're going to see the blood.
Yeah.
So why is it being delivered that she's not breathing?
That doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't.
Because you would have seen all that blood. You wouldn't have tried to go find a pulse.
So here's where this shit gets even fucking stranger. He believes there is enough, Hunter I'm talking about, he believes there's enough possibility that the killer could still be inside the house, that he gets a kitchen knife and starts checking portions of the residence. Yeah, I see the fucking face you're making, and stop there. A masked stranger walking through the house at 4 a.m. apparently wasn't enough to call the police. Unable to reach roommates apparently wasn't enough to call police. Whatever happened later that morning was enough to summon friends, but apparently still wasn't enough to call the police. Then Hunter discovers Xana and Ethan, and now the possibility of an armed murderer still being inside the house is serious enough that Hunter reportedly arms himself with a knife. What the fuck are we doing?
What do I
call the fucking police?
Get out.
That's their goddamn job.
Yeah.
Don't bring more college kids into a potentially dangerous fucking house.
No.
Don't send somebody, and you fucking sure as shit, you don't send somebody walking through a possible crime scene with another fucking knife. You don't give another person an opportunity to unknowingly step in blood, leave fingerprints, transfer DNA, move something, touch something, or contaminate the fucking evidence. Right. Get the fuck out, call 911, and let them do their fucking job.
Exactly. I mean, you wouldn't wait until the fire had already burned your house down before you called.
Right. And I can't get past the medical side of this either. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Xana would have survived if somebody had called at 4:20 in the morning when they should have. Nobody can responsibly tell you that from the public evidence that we have.
No.
But that's not the standard I'm applying to the people inside that house, because they didn't know she was dead. They couldn't know whether Xana had a pulse.
Right.
They couldn't know whether Ethan had a pulse. They couldn't know whether Madison or Kaylee were still alive upstairs.
No.
They couldn't know whether somebody was unconscious, bleeding, critically injured, or minutes away from dying.
No.
That's why we have paramedics.
Yep.
Now, imagine for 1 second that somebody in that house survived the initial attack. The initial attack. Like, not survive overall, but let's say that they survived the initial attack. And they're laying there. Now run that same timeline. 4:30, 5 o'clock, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, fucking 11, and finally 2 minutes before noon. Every fucking one of those hours would have been unbearable.
Yeah. Because your body's just slowly shutting itself down.
Now we know the ending. So it's incredibly easy to work backward and treat the delay like it couldn't possibly have changed anything. They did not know the ending. And Xana doesn't get to answer that question for us.
No.
She doesn't get to tell us when she died. She doesn't get to tell us whether she could hear anything afterward. She doesn't get to tell us whether there was any window whatsoever in which emergency medical care could have made a difference.
Right.
But how many crazy survivor stories have you heard where they just refuse to fucking give up and they've lost so much fucking blood, but then fucking, you know what I mean?
Crawling across.
Like I literally just fucking read an article the other day where they pulled somebody out of the fucking river and they were doing CPR for over 45 minutes and fucking got a pulse back after 45 fucking minutes. So it is possible.
Yeah.
It's different circumstances, drowning and being stabbed 67 fucking times. You know what I mean? But What if?
Yeah, that's the what if. What if medical attention could have been given right away?
Right.
The story might have ended different.
So, yeah, I mean, we don't know. So
No,
I'm not going to work backward from the fact that Xana ultimately died and pretend that everyone inside the house that morning was entitled to assume there was nothing anybody could do for her, because they fucking weren't. You're not entitled to assume that.
No.
If you believe somebody in your house might be hurt, unconscious, in danger, or if you've just seen a masked stranger walking out of the house after hearing crying, you call fucking 911.
Yeah.
You let the paramedics determine whether somebody can be saved. That decision should never have been left sitting inside that fucking house for 7.5 fucking hours.
No.
That's the fucking problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then there's the crime scene. By the time the fucking police finally get there, friends have already been summoned. Hunter's entered the house. He's fucking been, like, who the fuck knows how many fucking different places he went in there.
Right.
They don't get the luxury of going into a scene that's remained untouched since the killer walked out. They enter a house civilians have already been moving through fucking most of the morning.
Yeah.
And every single one of those movements matters. Who walked where? Who touched what? You know what I mean? In which bedroom? Who stepped in what?
Yeah.
Who handled the kitchen knife? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my God.
And those aren't questions we should be embarrassed to ask. Frankly, I'd be more concerned if nobody asked them.
Right.
There's 4 people murdered in the house, and the surviving roommates had information during the night that something unusual was happening. And hours later, they had enough concern to summon friends. Friends came before law enforcement. And 911 wasn't called until 11:50 fucking 8 the next day. That decision deserves scrutiny, not a fucking shrug and not a goddamn oh well. And certainly not, how dare you fucking blame the victims. I'm not blaming the fucking victims. But I have every goddamn right to question their fucking decisions and fucking what the fuck they did that night.
Mm-hmm.
Same as anybody else.
There's a lot of people asking those questions.
All we get is 7 different excuses invented afterward by people who weren't there. You know what I mean? I want a fucking answer.
Answers.
I want to know why more than 7.5 hours passed before somebody called 911.
Yeah.
And what exactly was happening inside that house during those 7.5 hours.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about this sheath.
Ooh, yeah.
The sheath is collected as evidence, and this is another fucking problem I have. After going through the forensic paperwork, I don't think questions about how this thing was handled can just be dismissed as somebody trying to create a conspiracy. There is actually something in the state's own records that deserves scrutiny. Mm-hmm. So this is not me, trying to fucking be like, you know what I mean? We didn't land on the moon, man. No. The sheath is collected on November 13th. It doesn't arrive at the Idaho State Police Forensic Laboratory until November 16th.
3 days.
Now, that 3-day period does not automatically mean that there's a broken chain of custody. What matters is whether investigators can document who collected it, how it was packaged and secured, where it was stored, and every transfer that occurred before the laboratory received it. Mm-hmm. And the records we do have give us a much clearer picture of the end of that journey rather than the beginning.
Really? Just the end?
Yeah. So on the 16th, there's correspondence within the Idaho State Patrol about getting the sheath to the laboratory.
Okay.
And at 1:19 that afternoon, laboratory manager Riley Nolan documents that a District 2 trooper had handed the sheath to a District 3 trooper who was bringing it the rest of the way. Then at 3:59 p.m., Nolan confirms that the sheath has arrived at the laboratory and assigns it the laboratory case number.
Okay.
Now, during that same period, Nolan also documents a problem on the Moscow end. Moscow Police Department's regular evidence person was on vacation, and somebody else was filling in. And Nolan writes that there could be things not quite right in the pre-log that the laboratory would have to work out.
Huh. Not quite right.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, but this is the fucking knife sheath. Yeah. This is the physical object carrying the DNA evidence used to connect our fucking murderer to the inside of that goddamn house.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the state should be able to show exactly what happened in that sheath from the moment it was picked up until the moment it reached the lab.
Yeah. Like who collected it at the scene.
Yeah. And right now, the part I can only account for most clearly is November 16th, trooper to trooper, then into the ISP laboratory that afternoon. What we can't reconstruct from the material that we currently have access to with the same level of detail as every physical handoff beginning when the sheath was first collected. We don't know who picked it up, what time they picked it up, who packaged it, who sealed it, where it was stored that first night, who had custody of it on the 14th and 15th. You know what I mean? Those are not bullshit questions.
No.
And I don't think the answer gets to be, well, paperwork mistakes happen. No shit. No shit. But paperwork documenting the custody of evidence exists for exactly this fucking reason.
Exactly.
When the evidence is this fucking important, I want the fucking paperwork to be right. I'm sorry. I don't feel like I'm the asshole for fucking thinking that's the way it should be. You know what I mean?
That's exactly how it should be. I mean, that's what they go to school for. That's what they train for. That's what they're told. Yeah.
And I mean, maybe every physical transfer was perfectly documented somewhere that we haven't seen. Great. Fucking produce it then.
Forward,
yeah, maybe the pre-log problem had absolutely nothing to do with the sheath. Great.
Awesome.
Show us what it did involve then.
Right. Don't hide it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Turvey's completely wrong about there being a meaningful problem with the handling of the evidence. Then put the records on the table and prove him wrong.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm not willing to do is start with the fact that the DNA eventually pointed toward Kohberger and work backward from there to assume everything that happened to the sheath beforehand must therefore have been fine.
Right.
That's not how evidence is supposed to work.
No.
The state wants the sheath treated as one of the strongest pieces of physical evidence against Kohberger. Then the state should be able to account for the fucking thing.
You would think.
Every day. Every transfer. Every person who handled it from Madison's bedroom to the fucking lab. Period.
Yep. Names, dates, and times.
Now, we're ripping right through this. Sort of. We're an hour and 20 minutes into this episode. And we got some more to go. And the next thing I want to talk about is Jack.
Who's Jack?
Jack DeCoeur. Yeah. He was Maddie's ex-boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
So let's take a closer look at him. Because the shorthand version of why investigators eliminated him has always bothered me. Because you'll hear that Jack was cleared because he was asleep. And that isn't really what the forensic record shows.
Oh.
The claim that he was asleep explains why he reportedly didn't answer those calls from Kaylee and Madison earlier in the morning. Because remember, they were trying to call him. But those calls occurred well before the approximate 4 to 4:20 murder window. And being asleep when your phone rings earlier does not by itself establish where you were later when 4 people were killed. Now, what they did have was Jack's cooperation and forensic comparison material.
Okay.
His DNA did not connect him to the sheath in the material we reviewed. His print could be compared against evidence from the scene, and investigators ultimately removed him from suspicion. But before Kohberger, this was their number one guy.
And then they just were like, yeah, you're good. Go.
Right.
Huh.
Now, those are legitimate investigative reasons to move away from somebody as a suspect. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, I mean, if you want to get really technical, none of those things is an alibi.
You're right.
A DNA exclusion tells you somebody's DNA wasn't the DNA you're comparing it against.
Yeah, that's all that says.
A fingerprint exclusion tells you a particular print isn't theirs. And cooperation tells you they cooperated.
Yeah.
None of those things physically places somebody somewhere else between 4 and 4:20 in the morning.
No.
And again, I'm not saying that because I think Jack killed anybody. I'm saying it because if we're going to tear apart the evidence used against Kohberger, then we have to apply the same standard when we talk about why investigators eliminated somebody else.
Correct.
So I want the actual answer.
Mm-hmm.
Where the fuck was Jack DeCour during the murder window? Was his phone at the residence? Was it being used? Did it connect to Wi-Fi? Was there surveillance placing him there? Was somebody physically with him?
Mm.
Did investigators establish his location through digital evidence that simply hadn't become part of the discussion? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. And that's the fucking problem.
There's a lot of things that we just don't know.
Right? Maybe they did. In fact, considering how thoroughly that they appear to have looked at him, there may be a perfectly solid answer sitting somewhere in the file that we're just not privy to. But from the public material that I've reviewed, I cannot find an independently documented murder window alibi that lets me say Jack physically could not have been there. Am I saying that he did it? Fuck no. Am I saying that he doesn't have an alibi? Yes.
Yeah, he just doesn't have that alibi.
Am I saying that the fact that he doesn't have an alibi mean he allegedly could have been present? Allegedly. I'm not saying he was.
Again, a lot of questions.
It doesn't fucking prove anything. You know what I mean? And then there's another reason I'm being this particular about it, because Dylan described the man she saw as having bushy eyebrows. And Kohberger certainly has prominent eyebrows. But old Jackie boy also appears to have fairly prominent eyebrows in some photographs from around that time.
Yeah.
Again, proves absolutely fucking nothing. Bushy eyebrows are not DNA. They're not fingerprints. They're not a license plate. We're talking about a fucking frightened witness seeing part of a masked man's face in a dark house for a very short period of time.
Right. And then freezing.
Right. I'm not going to use somebody having noticeable eyebrows as evidence that they murdered 4 people. But I'm not going to pretend that the eyebrow description is that uniquely identifies Bryan Kohberger either. Because it fucking doesn't.
No, there's so many people out there with
I have bushy eyebrows. Maybe I did it.
Maybe Santa Claus. I'm just kidding.
So that's the question I want answered with Jack. Not whether he cooperated. We know he did. Not whether his DNA was on the sheath. The material we reviewed doesn't connect him to it. I want to know whether investigators independently established where Jack DeCour was between approximately 4 and 4:20 in the morning. If he did, great. Tell us. Show me.
Yeah.
If they didn't, then saying investigators removed him from suspicion isn't really accurate.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. I want that question answered, and a trial will do that.
Yeah.
Because the defense did have a list of people that they were going to present as alternate perpetrators of this crime.
Really?
Most of this information was redacted, but based off like descriptions, it is 99.9% sure that their defense team's number one fucking alternate perpetrator was Jack. That's not me speculating. That is in the reports. So,
I'm having a hard time understanding why they decided to dismiss him so
I know,
quickly.
Right?
Then.
Now, there's another part of this case that I think has become accepted as fact when really it isn't, and that's the car. We've all heard it 1,000 times. Bryan Kohberger's white Hyundai Elantra was captured driving around King Road before the murders and speeding away afterward. Except when you actually pull that statement apart, that isn't what those cameras established. What those cameras established was that a white sedan was in that area. And I'm going to challenge the identification of that sedan. I'm not telling you it definitely wasn't an Elantra. I'm asking why we have collectively treated an expert interpretation of surveillance footage as though somebody got a clear shot of Kohberger's license plate outside that fucking house, because that's never happened.
No, not to my knowledge.
There's no readable plate identifying Kohberger's car. No VIN number. There's no single continuous video following his specific vehicle onto King Road, sitting outside the house, and then following that same identifiable vehicle all the way back out.
No.
In fact, some of the surveillance was so poor that the FBI's own forensic vehicle examiner, Anthony Imel, couldn't determine the make, model, or year.
Wow. Wow.
He specifically cited insufficient image detail and headlight blooming.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Then, when he did have material enough to make an identification, or what he thought, his initial assessment was a 2011 through 2013 Hyundai Elantra.
Not what Kohberger was driving.
He drove 2015. Then the range changes after additional imagery and additional vehicle characteristics are considered. The FBI expands the possible Elantra years through 2016.
Oh.
That does not prove somebody manipulated anything to make Kohberger's car fit. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
New evidence can absolutely change an expert opinion. But when the original identification excludes the model year your eventual suspect owns, and the identification is later expanded to include it, I'm allowed to fucking ask how confident we should actually be in the identification of this vehicle.
Right.
Especially because I have a Kia Forte. And what has bothered me when I go back and I look at these surveillance images, I don't look at that car and see an Elantra.
You see a Forte.
I see a white compact sedan that from those angles and all that image quality looks a hell of a lot like my fucking car. It looks like a fucking Kia Forte. Doesn't mean it is a Forte.
No.
It means I want to know whether those cars actually are visually similar enough that the distinction matters. And guess what?
Oh.
They are.
Ooh. See, now I'm going to have to go look it up online.
The 2014 through 2016 Kia Forte and the Hyundai Elantra are so extremely close in overall size and proportion and style. There are minor differences in the grille, the headlights, the fog light areas, the rear quarter windows, the taillights, and the body lines that somebody working from good imagery could potentially use to distinguish them. The problem is whether those differences are actually visible in the footage being used.
Right.
Now, if headlight blooming wipes out the front lighting details, you lose one of the easiest ways to tell them apart. If the image is too soft to clearly resolve the grille, that's another identifier gone. If you're looking at a distant side or rear angle at night, suddenly you're comparing two white compact sedans with extremely similar proportions. And also the Forte isn't the only alternative. There are other compact sedans from that period with extremely similar silhouettes.
Oh, wow.
Now, that doesn't make every one of them equally plausible. It means the identification needs to come from visible vehicle-specific characteristics rather than the fact that the eventual suspect happened to own a white sedan that fit the revised range. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And there's another issue here, too, because we talk about the car as though every camera captured one continuously identifiable vehicle, and they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Different cameras captured a white sedan at different locations and different times. Investigators reconstructed those sightings into a route and concluded they represented the same vehicle. Maybe they're absolutely right, but which recordings have enough detail to identify an Elantra? Which ones can only identify a white sedan?
Right.
What characteristics connect the vehicle on one camera to the vehicle on another? You know what I mean? Is there damage, a wheel pattern, a sticker? You know what I mean? How can you definitively say that this is the same car in these videos?
Right. Because obviously they can't see the driver.
Right. Because this is a white sedan. This is consistent with a Hyundai Elantra. And this is Bryan Kohberger's 2015 Hyundai Elantra are not interchangeable statements. You know what I mean? And then eventually they seize the actual car. They get Bryan Kohberger's 2015 Hyundai Elantra and it's processed for evidence. And investigators identify no victim DNA in it. None from Madison, none from Kaylee, none from Xana, none from Ethan. And that bothers me. And we talked about why.
Yeah.
I know the explanation. There were weeks between the murders and the seizure of the car. Kohberger could have cleaned it. Do I believe any human could clean it that good that it escapes fucking 2026 forensic science? No, I don't. Hell no.
There's no way.
He could have taken precautions to prevent transfer. He could have cleaned it repeatedly afterwards. You know what I mean? He could have fucking had plastic on it like grandma's couch. I don't fucking know.
That plastic.
But he could have cleaned it is not evidence that he did clean it.
Correct.
And if investigators found evidence showing biological material had been removed from that car, show me.
Yeah.
If they found chemical residue consistent with an extensive cleanup, unusual cleaning patterns, removed materials, replaced components, blood traces that survived underneath something, anything demonstrating that this vehicle had once contained evidence from these victims,
Show
and
me.
somebody subsequently removed it, I want to fucking see it.
Yeah. Why not?
Because otherwise we're explaining away the absence of evidence with something else we haven't established happened. And that matters even more when the surveillance itself doesn't give us a license plate, VIN, or some other unique characteristic allowing us to independently identify the white sedan as Kohberger's specific Elantra.
Yeah, because you can't. Yeah.
Now, maybe this dude got it right. Maybe he got it exactly right. Maybe the different cameras really do capture the same car. And maybe, maybe he cleaned it extraordinarily well before investigator sees it. All of that is absolutely fucking possible.
Right.
But there is another possibility, and I don't think we should be afraid to fucking say it simply because it challenges the accepted version of this case.
It could have been somebody else.
Maybe the car was clean because the fucking car was never at King Road.
Right?
That doesn't prove Kohberger didn't commit these murders, and it doesn't prove that the surveillance vehicle was a Forte. It doesn't tell us where, what vehicle was there.
Correct.
It means that the state should have been required to prove that connection instead of supplying us the explanation for them. Show me why the surveillance vehicle is an Elantra.
Mm-hmm.
Show me why it's his specific Elantra.
Mm-hmm.
And then explain why the actual car you say carried him away from King Road contained no identified DNA from any of the 4 victims.
Show me.
Don't use one unproven assumption to explain the other. If that was the fucking car, prove it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, we touched on the 23 late night Moscow visits.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come back around to that right now.
Okay.
23 documented trips to Moscow before the murders are not 23 documented trips to King Road.
Correct.
They're not automatically 23 stalking trips.
Yeah, correct. It just means that his cell phone was pinged a minimum of 23 times.
Yeah.
Within a certain time period.
Yeah. So, like I said, it drops off considerably in the months leading up to the murders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly why cellular resources serving King Road cannot simply become Kohberger was at King Road.
Correct. Because those cell towers, they cover a lot of area.
Yeah. So, and I really want to see Cy-Ray's analysis. Because if Ray can actually demonstrate repeated precise location collisions between Kohberger and Madison, I really want to see that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hell yeah, yeah.
Because if he repeatedly appears near her as she moves around Moscow, that strengthens the argument that he was stalking her and that he knew her and was following her.
Right.
And had encountered her in some fashion that we're not privy to.
Right.
But if she wasn't even near him during those events, that really weakens it.
Yeah.
And if all we can establish is that Kohberger repeatedly drove from Pullman into a neighboring college town 10 miles away during late night hours, then, honestly, stop turning that into 23 fucking stalking trips.
Yeah. See, again, more questions.
Yeah. So, yeah. Bethany Funky has always been one of the biggest unanswered questions in this case for me.
Yeah, where'd she go?
Because Kohberger pleaded guilty, his own defense was fighting to get her testimony. And they did not describe what she knew as meaningless.
Oh.
The defense literally argued that Bethany possessed information that was material and exculpatory to Kohberger. Now, that's a significant claim, and they went far enough to pursue her testimony across state lines.
Whoa.
And eventually an agreement was reached allowing her to be interviewed rather than forcing the issue through the original subpoena fight.
Okay.
So what the fuck did she know?
Yeah, I want to know.
We know Bethany was inside the house that night.
Yes.
We know Dylan's account became a major part of the probable cause affidavit, but Bethany's complete account has never been laid out publicly in anything approaching the same detail. And I fucking want it.
Why has she been so quiet?
Not because she's done anything wrong.
No.
Let me be clear on that. And again, I'm not blaming Bethany or saying or implying in any way, shape, or form that she had anything to fucking do with this.
No.
I am not. But Kohberger's attorney specifically represented to a court that information she possessed could be exculpatory to their client. And exculpatory means it could get him fucking off.
Mm-hmm.
It means they have proof that he didn't fucking do it.
Right. So how come we can't hear her story? How come we can't hear her information?
What information exactly?
Yeah.
Like what information? Did it involve something she heard? Something she saw? The timing? The people she believed were inside or around the house? Communications with Dylan? Communication with somebody else?
Right.
Does some part of her account conflict with the timeline investigators eventually construct?
I want to know.
Maybe the defense is overstating it. You know what I mean? Defense attorneys make arguments designed to help their clients.
Right.
So calling information exculpatory does not mean it actually would have changed anything once Bethany was questioned about it. But that's exactly why I want a trial.
I know.
Put Bethany under oath. Let's get this bitch up there.
Let's do it.
Let the defense ask her what they believed was so important.
Yeah.
Let the prosecution establish whatever context the defense leaves out.
Right.
And then let us finally hear what Bethany Funke knew that Bryan Kohberger's attorneys believed was important enough to fight over.
Yeah. I can't wait. Oh my God. I so hope there's a trial. I really do.
The part of Bethany's account I really want explained is the communication between her and Dylan that night.
Yeah.
We have reporting that the two surviving roommates were messaging each other while the murders were happening or shortly afterward. And one of the details that has emerged is Bethany reporting Dylan to run. That's not a casual fucking message.
No. No. Not at all.
If that reporting is accurate, I want the context.
Yeah. Why did she have to run?
What did Bethany hear that caused her to send it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was run a response to Dylan saying she had seen the masked man?
Mm.
Was, she frightened about something happening downstairs? Right. Was she telling Dylan to get the fuck out of the house, to come downstairs, come to her room, something else? And I want the timestamps.
Oh, yeah.
Because those messages could tell us more about what Dylan and Bethany understood in real time than almost anything reconstructed afterward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They could establish when the two began communicating, what each of them knew, whether one of them believed there was an immediate threat, and how their understanding of what was happening changed through the morning.
Yeah.
And the same applies to attempts to contact the other roommates.
Yeah.
Who did Dylan and Bethany call or text, and at what times? Who didn't answer? How many attempts did they make?
Right.
And what did they say to each other when Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan weren't responding?
Yeah, I want to know.
All those communications exist independently of anybody trying to remember a terrifying night months or years later. They have timestamps and they have content.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to fucking know.
Bring them forward. Yeah.
Now, there's another entry in the defense timeline involving Bethany that I want an answer to. And unlike the things we were just talking about, this happens hours later.
Oh.
Because at approximately 8:41 and 8:42 that morning, the timeline contains an entry described as BF takes photos. BF being Bethany Funke.
Oh.
Now, by this point, the murders have been over for more than 4 hours. Bethany's phone is active again. She has been reportedly been communicating with her family. We talked about that in the original episode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And police are still more than 3 hours away from being called. So what the fuck did Bethany photograph?
Yeah. What did she think was so important that she needed some sort of...
Exactly. And I want to be really careful about wording here because we don't currently have enough information to say she photographed the crime scene.
No.
We also don't have enough information to dismiss these as screenshots her mother sent her or some meaningless images that happened to land on her phone.
Right.
The problem is that the shorthand entry says BF takes photos. while the underlying forensic extraction that would tell us exactly what those IMG entries represent has not been established in the material we have. Creation time, capture time, received file metadata, and somebody summarizing a forensic extraction are not necessarily the same thing. And we actually looked at the possibility that these were connected to material Bethany's mother sent her. And the timing creates a problem with simply accepting that explanation. So if Bethany's phone genuinely created or captured images at 8:41 or 8:42, something her mother sent later can't explain an earlier camera event. Because they're trying to say that, okay, her mom, like she took photos.
Okay.
And they're speculating that she may have sent them to her mother.
Okay.
And these photos are labeled a certain way.
Okay.
Now, because this is an Apple phone and this is a known flaw with Apple, if I sent you an image and it has like IMG 202578, and then you send me anything back, any kind of image, for whatever reason, it labels it exactly the same.
Oh, that's weird.
It would have the exact same label, even though it wasn't the same image.
Oh, it wasn't the same image.
Because it's just a glitch. Okay, so initially, Bethany takes pictures, sends them to her mom, and then her mom's phone sends something back, but it looks like it's the same screenshots. But that just doesn't make sense, because why would you receive a screenshot and then send a screenshot right back?
Right back. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
More questions?
Exactly. I want to know what the fuck she was taking pictures of.
Yeah. And my whiteboard is so full. I don't know if I have room for any more questions.
So, I mean, if they were received images, fine.
All right.
Let us know.
Yeah.
If they were screenshots, let us know.
Right? Yeah.
Or did you open your camera at 8:41 in the morning and physically take photographs inside or around that fucking house?
Right.
Send them to your parents and ask what the fuck you should do.
And then still have all that time.
Yeah.
Go by.
Maybe she photographed something that has absolutely nothing to do with murders. People take pictures of stupid shit all day long, especially fucking girls. No offense.
Flowers.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like she's a young woman in college. She could be taking pictures of fucking anything. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But give me the answer.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this answer would be straightforward and simple.
Right? If it's got nothing to do with the crime, then just shows.
Yeah. Could have been your...
But for an 8-hour period that it already has an enormous amount of unanswered questions, 2 fucking photographs at 8:41 in the morning, it's not something I'm willing to casually skip over.
No.
I want to know who created them. I want to know what they show, and I want to know why they were taken.
Yeah. Simple questions.
And those fucking photos are not the only thing happening on Bethany's phone that morning. The timeline we've been working from also shows communication between Bethany and her parents before anybody calls 911. And I really want to know what was said during those conversations.
Yeah.
Because communications with her parents could give us something incredibly valuable, which is a contemporaneous account of what Bethany believed was happening inside that house before friends arrived and before anybody called the police.
Exactly.
What did she tell them?
Yeah.
Did she say she was scared? Did she describe noises? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those communications could answer a hell of a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I'm not interested in guessing. Maybe those conversations were completely fucking mundane. Maybe Bethany told her parents absolutely nothing about what had happened overnight. If that's what the records show, fucking fine.
Right. Just tell
But
us.
if she was telling her parents that something was wrong inside that fucking house hours before anybody called 911, I want to know why emergency services still weren't being contacted. And the fucking timestamps matter. The content matters. And what Bethany believed at the time matters. Because those messages and calls weren't created years later after lawyers, documentaries, social media, and everybody else spent years arguing about what happened. They happened that fucking morning. And I want to know what she said.
Yeah. And why not? Why can't we?
So finally, let's talk about fucking Papa Roger. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
Papa Roger was an online account that was participating in group discussions on what possibly could have happened at King Road. And for years, people have insisted that Papa Roger was Bryan Kohberger. And apparently investigators concluded that he wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Then who the fuck was
who
he?
Yeah. You've got to have an IP address attached to that. Yeah.
The interesting part of Papa Roger was never just whether Bryan Kohberger was secretly sitting on Facebook talking about his own crime. The interesting part was whether whoever controlled that account actually knew information about the murders that wasn't public yet. And the knife sheath is the obvious example, because this Papa Roger account discussed the possibility that police had found a sheath before the probable cause affidavit publicly revealed that a knife sheath had ever been recovered. Sounds pretty fucking impressive, right? But this is exactly where hindsight can actually fuck with us.
Yeah.
If somebody makes 50 predictions about an active murder investigation and 49 of them are wrong, we cannot pull out the one correct prediction afterward and pretend that person had inside information.
Yeah.
People following cases obsessively make educated guesses constantly. Mm-hmm. Some of them are eventually going to be right. So I want the entire posting history.
Yeah.
I want the dates, the exact wording. I want to know what had already been reported that day. I want every wrong prediction sitting beside every correct one.
Yeah.
If the account said 10 things and one happened to be right, that's not impressive.
No.
If it repeatedly produced specific, correct, non-public information, then somebody needs to explain where the fuck that information was coming from.
Yeah. How did they get it?
And here's another question. If Papa Roger wasn't Bryan Kohberger, did investigators ever determine whether the account holder had any relationship to him?
Ooh, that's a good question.
And they're separate questions too. Not Kohberger doesn't automatically mean completely unrelated to Kohberger. You know what I mean? Was there a shared university connection?
Because there could have been. It could have been a coworker. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean.
Wow.
It's a lot.
There is a lot. I really, really, really do hope that they take it to trial. Yeah. I really, really hope. Because I think it's the only way to get the answer.
Exactly. The last thing I have for this is we should get a hell of a lot of answers from it if this case actually goes to trial. Especially this one's different because the evidence itself no longer exists. And that the house is gone.
Yeah, that was weird.
The owner of that house donated the house to the University of Idaho in early 2023. And the university said from the beginning that it intended to demolish it as part of the healing process for the community. So the court eventually released the property, and by July, the university said neither the prosecution nor the defense opposed destroying it. Now, I understand why the university wanted that house gone. 4 students were brutally murdered there. It became a fucking tourist attraction. People drove by it, photographed it, treated, the place where these 4 fucking kids died as some kind of fucking true crime vacation. So I completely understand wanting to remove that from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But this is also fucking evidence.
And
it's not some ordinary box-shaped house where a floor plan tells you everything you need to know. It was weird.
Yeah, it was odd.
It had multiple levels built into the hillside, different entrances, staircases, bedrooms scattered across floors, and unusual sightlines. We have spent a good portion of this episode asking what Dylan could see, what Bethany could hear, how somebody moved through that house in darkness, how quickly one person could get from Madison's room to Xana's room, and whether the state's compressed timeline physically makes any fucking sense.
Correct.
That house could have helped answer those questions.
Yeah, kind of, but physical.
How long does it take to actually enter through the sliding door, get upstairs, all this shit. Those aren't abstract questions when the building's standing. You can fucking test them.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to me that that they would just fucking get rid of that.
Yeah, like, it's okay. Let's just demolish it. Yeah.
Now, neither side asked the university to preserve it at that point, and that matters also. I'm not going to tell you somebody bulldozed this house because they were trying to hide evidence. You know what I mean? Prosecutor Bill Thompson's position was that evidence collection had already altered the interior enough that a jury probably wouldn't be permitted to view the house anyway.
Oh, okay.
And investigators had the photographs, measurements, and other documentation that could be used to recreate it.
So they didn't really see a reason.
Yeah, most of the victims' families disagreed with demolishing it before trial and believed that the physical house could still have evidentiary value. And I'm with them on that.
Yeah.
You can scan the house, you can photograph it, you can measure every fucking wall. You can build a beautiful 3-dimensional model of it, but what you cannot do after December 28th, 2023 is walk back through the original space and discover that there is something you didn't realize is you needed to measure.
Right.
You can't rerun an acoustic test under different conditions. You can't stand in Dylan's doorway and change the lighting.
No.
You can't have an expert physically walk competing offender routes and time them.
Mm-hmm.
So the answer forever becomes we have whatever was preserved before they tore it down. And now look at where we are. He's trying to withdraw his guilty plea that prevented this case from going to trial. And if he succeeds, we could end up having the trial everybody thought was coming when that house was still standing.
Yeah.
Except the jury will never be able to see 1122 King Road.
No.
They'll only get to see a model. And the defense will only be able to show them photographs. But nobody will be able to go back. And with a case where we're still arguing about what people could see, what people could hear, how somebody moved through that house
that would have been
and was able to
crucial.
do what they did in 16 minutes.
Yeah.
I think destroying the actual fucking building before the evidence was ever tested at trial was a terrible decision.
Terrible mistake.
Not a conspiracy.
No.
Not proof of a cover-up. A decision we may seriously regret if Bryan Kohberger actually gets the trial we never thought we'd see.
Mm-hmm.
And what if the fact that that house is gone works out in the defense's fucking favor?
Yeah. Something I hadn't even considered.
So where does that leave us? Kohberger pled guilty to murdering Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to pretend that didn't happen. And I'm not telling you we've proved somebody else committed these murders.
No.
For the 100th time, I'm not saying that Bethany, Dylan, Jack, or Hunter had anything to do with any of this.
Correct.
But I can definitely fucking hold you accountable for your shitty fucking decisions.
Yeah.
Because you guys made some shitty fucking decisions.
Not calling. Like you should have.
And I don't want to say that you calling 911 fucking when you should have would have saved anybody. But we can't say that it wouldn't have either.
Yeah. That's a hard one.
For me, the worst part of this whole thing is the fact that one of them could have survived the initial attack and had to lay there basically dying a slow, horrendous fucking death because nobody called emergency services when they should have.
Yeah.
I just can't square with that.
No. That doesn't sit right.
So, does any of the stuff we talk about tonight prove Kohberger's innocent? Fuck no.
No.
Hell no.
Mm-hmm.
Does it fucking create 100 more fucking questions for us? Fuck yeah, it does.
But it's good.
And that's where I'm at with this case. You know what I mean? I don't need another recap of the sheath or the Elantra or the fucking cell towers. We know the fucking case.
Yeah.
We know it fucking back to front. What we never got was the opportunity to watch that evidence get challenged in court.
Yeah.
And I think if he succeeds in withdrawing his plea, maybe we finally will. Put all that fucking evidence in front of a jury.
Yes.
Put the witnesses under oath and let the experts be cross-examined and fucking answer the goddamn questions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want.
I agree. So
that is going to be our Bryan Kohberger update.
Yeah.
Obviously, as this unfolds, we'll probably have a third Kohberger episode.
Down the road, yes.
Down the road at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if he's successful in withdrawing his guilty plea and this goes to trial,
we're going to be glued.
I'm pretty sure the fucking we'll be attending this fucking trial.
Oh, yeah.
And talking about it daily.
Oh, yeah.
What we saw, what we fucking learned. I mean, I will fucking...
Oh, yeah.
This is I don't know. This is the fucking hill I'm going to die on, I guess.
No.
This is my golden goose fucking case. I can't fucking let it go. You know what I mean?
It's one that's definitely gotten under the
skin. It's fucking batshit fucking bonkers crazy.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't fucking make sense to me. So
no, so many unanswered questions. I hope we get answers. I really do.
That's what we got for you tonight. So
thanks for listening.
Stew on it. And I don't know, maybe you have a theory that we don't. Email the show, shadowsinthepinespodcast@gmail.com. Let me know. We can discuss it. Maybe you want to be on the air with us and discuss it. That'd be cool too.
Mm-hmm.
So let us know.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you'd take just a second to like, follow, subscribe, and share the show. It might seem like a small thing, but it honestly makes a huge difference. Every follow, every share, every rating, and every recommendation helps more people discover Shadows in the Pines and allows us to keep bringing you the stories that deserve to be told. If you know someone who's as fascinated by true crime and the mysteries of the Pacific Northwest as you are, send this episode their way. Word of mouth is still one of the biggest reasons podcasts grow, and your support means more to us than you know. Thanks for listening, thanks for being here, and thanks for helping us keep Shadows in the Pines growing.